Joy here. Joy back already. Can you believe it? Of course, you may not see this for 2 weeks. Today's the day after I put a video up yesterday. And some of you noticed my hair went from blonde to black again. I hate my hair the first few days after I dye it. But let me just explain that in real life, I know I'm real and I'm alive, but in real life, that blonde hair doesn't look good on me. And I hate this too until after about 4 days, 4 or 5 days, and I get a little sun on it and it's not solid, medium brown. So, I found something. I have to show you. I have to show you this fun thing. Jerry said, that looks just like you. I said, I know. Do you ever go somewhere to find something in your house and you can't find it at all? I got out my vacuum sweeper this morning to vacuum the kitchen floor. And in the corners, I like to use that long crevice tool thing. Well, it wasn't in the vacuum cleaner. And I never ever lose things. I always put them back where they go. But I've had other people cleaning my house at times, and I don't know. I just have no idea. I don't even want to say that person did it because that person may not have. But that person has been known to lose some brushes and stuff. She's come to me before and said, look at this, I have 3 of these. Where do they go? And I clean my own house 99% of the time, but every once in a while, I have a lady that comes and helps me. So, that has nothing to do with anything. The point is, I went underneath the stairs, into the big closet underneath the stairs to try to find that attachment to the vacuum cleaner. And there's a shelf up high like here, and I can only reach it with my hands. And so I was pulling stuff off and pulling stuff off, and nothing was there. And then all of a sudden this thing came forward. And I thought, well, what the heck is that? Wait till you see what it is. I don't remember if someone gave this to me or if I bought it, but I love it. And I am going to have it framed. I'm going to go to Hobby Lobby when I get to my other house tomorrow, and I'm going to have it framed. But look at this. If this isn't me, nothing is. It's all rolled up so hard to see. So can you even tell? I'll have to take a picture of it maybe. Let me see if I can roll it the other way. I don't want to tear it. Hey, you are very rolled up. It's been rolled up for heaven only knows. Well, I can't do it, and I don't want to break it. So can you tell? It says, praise the Lord, which I say 200 times a day. And on her shirt, it says joy. And that's exactly how I feel most of the time. I just want to jump up in the air, or dance, or spin, or whatever. It's so totally me. So and it's almost got my new blue. Look at how much she's wearing. It's got my new blue. So I will get her framed, and I'm hanging her up in there in my new sewing room. Or maybe I'll hang her up in here. I don't know, who cares? So I'm going to go in this morning. We're supposed to be getting ready to go to our other house. And every day, we figure out some excuse why we're not going. This coming Sunday, this is Thursday. This coming Sunday, it will be 3 whole weeks we've been here. We were supposed to be here 1 week. So I just went out to talk to Jerry. He got the RV out of the barn and brought it out front because we're supposed to go home tomorrow with the RV. We're taking it to the other house. And so I went out and I said, could we camp out in our RV tonight? He said, sure, if you want to. And I said, when do we have to go home? And he said, tomorrow. And I said, what if we wait till Saturday? And so we can sleep in tomorrow in our RV and play like we're camping. He said, oh, okay, we'll go home Saturday. I know. Oh, well, you know, when you don't have kids and you're retired and you don't have a job, all we do is go to doctors and chiropractors and get x-rays and stuff anymore. So you can do whatever you want to, right? I'll be back after a while. We are back. We got back Saturday, and we actually went to church Sunday. And we weren't able to make it to our Sunday school class. When we got back here, we were in the RV, as I told you, and we have a, oh, I don't know what they're called. It's an A. There's like an A, a B, and a C. It's an A, and it has a lot of wheels, and it has to plug into a wall, and it has to have 50 amp electric. And so we installed that. When we built this barn, we had them build that into it. So Jerry was super, super, super excited to bring the RV here. He loves that RV. One of his toys, you know. The difference between men and boys is the price of their toys. You know that, right? So he plugged it into the plug that we paid very much to have put in, and it didn't work. We had all the electric done, and some inspector guy showed up and said, oh, you've got to change this. We spent $800 to change that plug somehow. And so it didn't work. So the electrician, not the inspector guy, but the actual electrician, I guess he felt sorry for us. He actually came yesterday, Sunday morning. He showed up at 8 o'clock yesterday morning to fix that for us. So that was so, so sweet. But anyway, since he showed up at 8, we didn't get to Sunday school. But we did make it to church, and we got there a little early, so I had time to talk to my new friends from Sunday school. Well, I don't know how to say, I felt surprised, very surprised. Didn't know if I should be excited or I should be scared to death. That one of the dear sweet ladies in the class, and her husband is actually the teacher, she and he were coming out of the class and saw me. And I said, well, hi, how are y'all doing? And they said, we've been watching you on TV. And I'm like, no, no. You know, Jerry always says I'm a different person in my videos. And I guess I am. Because, you know, I wouldn't make a video with me, you know, not happy and laughing and something to tell you. You know, if I was downstairs sitting on a couch blowing my nose and bawling, I would turn the camera off. So, I don't know, I didn't really want anybody there to know. Because, can you explain it to me? I bet you can explain it to me. You know, it's one thing for Philly to know I met Viv because of my videos, and Viv makes videos, so I'm very comfortable with her knowing about my videos. Philly has been in lots of my videos, so I'm very comfortable with her. But for people who don't know me that well, and they just know me from being in church, I don't know, I would feel awkward, embarrassed, shy. And don't laugh, I really am shy. I really am, I promise you. I'm a very shy person. You know, that camera can't make ugly faces at me. That camera can't smirk. That camera can't get up and walk out. That camera can't look down at its lap and get on its phone and ignore me, see? So when I'm making a video, I'm talking to a pole with a camera on it. But when somebody that I meet that's a new person that doesn't really know the Joy Bernhardt YouTube side of me, I don't know, makes me nervous. I don't know really how to feel about it. I'm like, I want to say, don't tell anybody else. Actually, the preacher knows. I was telling the preacher asked me what I did one time. I was there with Jerry, and he was talking to Jerry, and I came out and he said, well, what do you do, Joy? I'm like, well, the laundry, clean the house, cut my hair, cut Jerry's hair, follow Jerry around everywhere he goes. No, I told him, I said, I have a YouTube channel and I make videos. And he said, what do you do? And I said, I don't do anything. I just sew. That's all I really do. And I was telling him that the people that watch me like to see me do a tutorial, because I guess, you know, a lot of people like my teaching style. But it's very, very hard to video myself doing something from moment to moment to moment. because I'm not going to set the camera up and just let it watch me sew on the sewing machine for 8 hours a day. That's just too boring. And I don't want to say I can't stand it. I mean, there's nothing wrong with anybody or with anybody's videos. There's so many people who make sewing videos now. Lots and lots of them in the UK, because I know I can hardly understand them when they talk. And they're in Australia, and they're in Europe, and they're everywhere. And you can watch everybody do videos. But the ones that put me to sleep, that I can't really stay interested in, are the ones where they're just sitting in one position, in one place, every single time you watch them, and they never get up, and they never walk around, and they never move. And I get that, because they don't have a camera person either. So they've got the camera set up to look at them in one place. In order for them to get up and walk around and do anything else, they've got to reset the camera up. So I get that. Please, please don't be offended in any way if you know somebody like that. That's just me. But that's why I don't do more tutorials. It's because I just feel like it would be so boring and I would put people to sleep. So anyway, I was telling the preacher all of that. And the preacher was telling me that he had made many videos, been a preacher forever and ever and ever, and his services are actually on YouTube. And he told me that he is really good at doing that, and if I wanted to, he would come and show me how to set up several cameras. So I thought that was super nice of him. But hopefully he never did watch me, you know. So I don't know, this lady is darling. She's one of my favorite people there. She's just darling. Her name is Melva. And I like her very much because the very first Sunday I went there, she wasn't there. But her husband was there, and he was the teacher. So being the teacher, you know, he introduced himself to us and welcomed us to the class. And he asked us what we did, and I guess I told him, you know, well, I sew. And he said, oh, my wife, she loves to sew. And he said she's always at that sewing machine store. And I said, be so in. And they had just had the big tech party where they showed their new machine, the Radiance. And I hadn't noticed her there. But I said, oh, was she at the tech party? No, I said, oh, is she going to buy the new machine? And he said, no, she is not. And Jerry said, and Joy isn't either. So that's kind of why his wife, you know, knew that I sewed, and I've talked to her several times since then. So I told her Sunday, I said, well, you'll have to come over and hang out with me. I asked her one Sunday, I said, have you been sewing lately? She said, every time I go in there and I try to make something, he wants to go someplace, and so I never get anything finished. So I said, well, you can come over and hang out with me, and then he can't bother you. So I don't know if she really will or not. She walks with a cane, and so I doubt she can get upstairs like my sister. But we'll see, a day at a time, and hopefully we'll become good friends. But it does make me nervous that my Sunday school would know that I have a YouTube channel. And, you know, maybe it's nothing because nobody would care, because they don't sew, they don't make quilts, they don't sew. I don't know of anybody else there that does that. So maybe it's no big thing, but I don't know. I just feel like I'm going to have to be on my best behavior and not say anything stupid like don't drink poison. So anyway, what am I going to do? I came up with the best idea. Tell me what you think about it. Tell me what you think about it. And maybe I'll do a semi-tutorial on how I do it, okay? Tell me what you think. In the first clip, I showed you that paper poster that I found when I was looking for the piece that goes to my vacuum cleaner. Well, I thought, well, I'll just frame it. But then I was talking to my friend Jeffrey in California, and I said, what if I turned that into a quilt instead of just framing it? And he said, oh my gosh, that's a great idea. So I told him I really liked it, except for the nose on the girl. The girl's got a nose that looks like somebody blew up a balloon and stuck it on her face, and that doesn't go there. So I asked Jeffrey if I could change her nose. He said, oh sure, that would be easy. So I think I'm going to make a quilt out of that. It would be total applique, you know, and that's what I love to do is applique. It would be so much fun. So what I'm going to start, you know, I started that quilted jacket and I didn't get it finished yet, so I suppose I should finish something before I start something else, but then that would be new and different, wouldn't it? What I'm going to do is, I already called this place called Staples, you know Staples, and asked them if they could blow a poster up 2 or 3 times bigger. And of course, I got the usual answer, you would have to bring it in and we would have to see. She did say that they could not blow it up wider than 24 inches. So maybe I need to call a different kind of copy store and see if they can make it wider than 24 inches. I would probably want it to be wall hanging size. You know, I don't want it the size of winter houses there. But probably wall hanging size. So 24 by 36, that might be big enough. That might work. So we shall see. But that's what I'm thinking is I'll go do that. Then I'll have to trace. I'll have to trace each of her legs, trace each of her shoes, trace the pom-poms, trace her face, trace her hair, all the shapes, you know. And then, hey, and that's another thing to think about. If I'm going to cut the shapes out on the scan and cut, you can't get anything wider than 12 inches on a scan and cut. So, you know, as long as her head wasn't bigger than 12 inches, I think I'd be okay. We'll just have to see. It will be like a little adventure. And you know, I love to learn new things. I have always loved to learn new things. And I don't want to make any more edited quilts. I've already got another edited quilt. It's a pre-cut. It's not the snowflake one. It's a different one. And it's in a box and it's a pre-cut and I've never even opened that box. So I'm not going to buy any more edited sitar quilts. I was thinking the other day, I've got so many quilts now and, you know, I'm old. I don't know how much longer I'm going to live, but I don't know. You know, if nobody in your family cares about your quilts, you know, in the time, the expense, how much you loved it when you were making it, I wouldn't care if they sold them. They could sell them all, but I just hate for them to just toss them. Oh, but as my friend Terry said, she said, "What do you care, Joy? You're going to be dead." I know, the things we worry about is just nuts, isn't it? Maybe if I know I'm going to die and I have a little time and I still have a YouTube channel and somebody might want me, maybe I can give my quilts away like that, or maybe sell them. But you don't need any money if you're dead. Who knows? I know one lady years ago, she was a famous quilter, online quilter, and a whole bunch of people knew her and loved her. And she got cancer or something and she was really sick. She started raffling off her quilts to make money for all of her medical bills. And, you know, like the raffle, you would just pay $1. And I remember I paid $1 for several different ones. I didn't win any of them, but, you know, there's lots of different things you could do, I suppose. So why am I getting off onto that? So I've got some new subscribers. Welcome. I'm so excited you're here. I hope Melba subscribed. She didn't say she subscribed. She said she left me a comment, but I couldn't find her comment. But a lot of you asked me what quilt this is. This is called Winter Houses, and it's by Laundry Basket Quilts. She has this winter version and she has a summer version. 2 versions of the same quilt. So if you're interested in making that quilt, I think somebody just told me recently they were interested. So you just go to Laundry Basket Quilts, Edyta Sitar, E-D-Y-T-A, S-I-T-A-R, owns it. And she has lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of patterns. And she has lots of them that are pre-cuts. This wasn't pre-cut. I had to cut all that out myself. Except for the applique. She sent the applique part. But the pre-cuts are so nice. Especially when you got a bunch of triangles like that snowflake quilt I'm making. Oh my goodness. I would not want to cut that up. I had my x-ray today. Did I tell you I had my x-ray today? I did. It supposedly was a DEXA scan to see if my bones are still together. And I had one years ago, 2 or 3 years ago. And when I went and had that one done, I laid on the table on my side and the machine just went over my one hip. It didn't take 15 seconds. And she said, okay, you're done. Today, they had me lay on my back on the table and the machine just started moving right away. And the girl didn't even tell me, you know, be still, the machine's doing this, the machine's doing that. She didn't say a word. And the machine just kept moving from like my chest down to my thighs, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So I don't know what the heck they x-rayed. I had an MRI recently. I didn't need them to look at my liver, so I don't know what that was about. I just hope my bones are staying together. I'll be back when I'm doing something. So we have another week flying by. This is Thursday. I have a calendar. It says it's August. Hold on. That isn't right. That isn't right. It is September 25, 2025. So it's 9/25/25. The first time I got married 1,000 years ago, I was married on September 21. So look what I have. Not only one sewing chair from Be Sew In, but two. You know, I have had two of these chairs for many, 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 many years. You can tell they're brand new. They've still got the stuff stuck on them. I've had them for many years. And so we opened the two new ones yesterday. And I moved the first one in next to one of the old ones. Totally, totally, totally different colors. Looked like they made a mistake. But Jerry said, you know, it's been under fluorescent lights and in the sunlight in the window for years and years and years, so they must have faded. So I decided to put the two dark ones together and the two light ones together. So we'll see if these fade as well. But the most comfortable chair. And one of the things I really like about them, you may not, is no arms. I like not having the arms to deal with, to get under the table or to be in my way, and so I really like that about these chairs. No affiliation whatsoever. I couldn't even, oh, let me see, let me think. Koala. They're koalas. And I got them from my sewing machine store. So what have I been doing? This is the week of appointments we've had. Monday was my bones, and it turns out my bones are the same as they were last time I had the bones looked at, which was, I don't know, 3 to 4 years ago. And I didn't understand the numbers. I didn't understand them then, don't understand them now. But my doctor called me and said that nothing's changed since last time, and I'm stable. I bet you never thought you'd hear anybody say I was stable. So I'm really happy about that. Osteoporosis, supposedly, but at least it's stable. So what have I been doing? Monday was that. Tuesday, I forget. Wednesday, we went to the chiropractor again, and the chiropractor looked at my MRI. He hadn't looked at it before. He didn't realize that the little CD I gave him had 3 or 4 different x-rays on it. And he showed me that one of my things back here, my disc, those little round things, has a sticky out bone spur. It's like a point that the bone grew for some reason. I don't know why it would suddenly grow a point sticking out. And evidently it's that's pinching my nerve now and then. I said, well, couldn't I just go to a doctor and they could just clip that bone off of there like you would a fingernail? He said, it wouldn't be exactly like that. He said, they would probably fuse you and you wouldn't be able to do something. You wouldn't be able to bend over or something. So I guess I'll just keep the bone spur. I know a lot of you know. I know a lot of you know, and you're going to tell me. So let me know if you had something done about one of those sticky out bones. Then Monday, after we went to this, oh, what's the most horrible building? Oh, ancient building. I will never go back there if I have a choice of a different building. I'm not kidding you. It looked like it could fall down any minute. I did not like that building. You had to go into a parking garage, and I do not like parking garages. They scare me. So anyhow, got that done, over with. So what have I done since then? I decided, I got Silly Willy done. You remember, SW's hanging on the wall at the other house. So I was up here, I guess Monday, after I had that DEXA scan, and I thought, well, what am I going to work on now? I wasn't in the mood to work on the snowflake quilt for some reason. I don't know why. I wasn't in the mood to make a new garment for some reason. I thought, do I have burnout or what? That never, ever, ever happens to me. But I did. I just kind of wandered around in days. One afternoon, I think it was yesterday, I even laid down on the couch for an hour and did nothing. Never, never, never do that. But I did have an allergy attack, and I had taken some nighttime cough syrup and a 24-hour allergy pill and the stuff you squirt up your nose. So I told myself there's nothing wrong with me. I just was tired because of the drugs. Although usually they make me the other way around. So what am I doing? I decided, gosh, I wish you'd get to the point, Margaret. Somewhere in this house, there is a great big tablet of paper that hung on a great big easel at my other house. And I wrote on it one time all the quilts I was working on. And we're talking about, paper from here to here on me and this wide. And I made a list of all the quilts I was working on so I could check them off as I got them done and I wouldn't forget that I was working on them. Well, I saw that in the closet here somewhere the other day. And I didn't even get it out and look at it, but I remembered what it was. And I thought, you know what? That is what I need to do. I have got to pull those quilts out one by one, and I have got to get them finished. So I pulled one out. It is this one. I'll show you a picture if I can find it. This was the block of the month. I actually bought it from Missouri Star Quilt Company, but it is a Laundry Basket Quilts pattern called Patchwork Barn. You can still buy it at Laundry Basket Quilts, and you can still make it. I did mine a little different. This is it, Patchwork Barn. Took me a couple years. Every single block was made 3 times. So there's 3 of everything. I'll show you. Here's a basket, and here's a basket. 3 baskets, see? And 3 spools. Here's a spool, here's a spool, and here's a spool. So every block is 3 times. And then it's got this big barn in the middle. Now the barn is just like this on my quilt. I put my some of my blocks in a little different order, I think. But I did not do this applique on the sides. I had it. I bought it. I've got it. But I decided I didn't want this to be about the applique. I wanted it to be about the barn, and I just wanted the applique in the middle. And that was one of the reasons I hadn't finished it yet. Is, do I want to put it or do I not want to put it? Do I want to do it or not? Do I want to do it? So I decided I not, and I just put 3 empty borders all around. So it is downstairs hanging on the long arm as we speak, and on the floor is the fabric that came with it to make the back out of. This is 5 yards. So you have to cut this in half and sew it together. So I've got to do that. Then I've got to look up here where I have all of my batting. I started buying it by packages instead of buying it by those gigantic rolls. Those gigantic rolls are hard to mess with if you're not in it for a business. So I have a whole bunch of packages, and I'll find a batting, and hopefully by the end of today I will have this on the long arm, and I think I'm going to quilt it with a pattern called Damask. Really pretty pattern. Just a simple little swirly thing. So that's that. So then what quilt am I going to do after that one? I don't know. I did a mystery quilt years ago of Of course, edit a sitar. That's all you talk about. Edit a sitar. And Peggy, I know. Go watch someone else that has a more diverse life. I'm looking at two right here in the closet. One is a 4th of July quilt, and the other one is a real pretty one that I bought. It wasn't a block of the month, but it was a kit. You want to see that one? Hold on. I'll have to take this one back to the other house to hang it because it doesn't go with anything in this house. But it's gorgeous. It is gorgeous. What do you think about that? Lots and lots of little pieces sewn together. I hope it shows up pretty on the camera. I could go put this on a long arm and quilt it. It's gorgeous. You know, I need to play like I'm in business, and some lady brought this to me and she wants it by tomorrow. And this one by the next day. I don't know how people do it. I really don't. That is one thing I am super, super slow at. And the light is coming through the window. Let me hold it up this way. Maybe you can see the colors better. But it's a gorgeous thing. I don't remember what the name of it is, and I don't have a picture of it handy. But, so that's two UFOs. Maybe this will be my period of UFOs. I wanted to say my year of, but good grief, the year's almost over. Okay, so today, in 1 hour, we are getting together with our Sunday school at this really nice restaurant here in Tulsa. It's called Fish Daddy's. If you live in Tulsa or Bixby and someplace around there and you haven't been to a restaurant called Fish Daddy's, you got to go there. The prices are awesome. And the food is awesome. Fish Daddy's. My nephew told me about it. I said, oh boy, that sure is a goofy name. And he said there's one and only one on the planet. So we're going to go there, see my friends from Sunday school. Then I'm going to come home and work on my UFOs. So here we are. It's Friday again already. I don't know how Friday gets here so fast every single week, but it sure does. It seems like we just got back yesterday from Kingston. But look, I did something. I actually finished something. You're going to be so shocked. That's an unfinished cup of coffee from this morning because I was so busy doing this that I didn't get to drink my coffee enough. So here it is. I said yesterday that I got this from Missouri Star. No, I did not. It was actually from the Quilt Show. I don't know if the Quilt Show is even still on with, you know the girl, the Quilter Select girl. She had the quilting show forever and ever by herself, and then she went off TV and she went online with Ricky Timms, and I wasn't into Ricky Timms and his boyfriend. I understand the lifestyle and all of that, but just some things that were said just got on my nerves. So anyway, I didn't watch it very much. But at some point, they had this for a block of the month, and it was Laundry Basket Quilts. So I purchased it, and then I spent the next probably 2 years making it. So I am so, so proud of myself. Just yesterday, I put the borders on, and I put the quilt on my long arm, and I quilted the first 2 rows of this pantograph. And after I quilted the first 2 rows of the pantograph, I decided it was late and I didn't want to quilt it anymore, so I was going to wait until today to finish it. Well, it turns out there's another problem in the world that I didn't know about. Hold on. I'm trying to be real quiet, Cherry Cherry. There's another problem. Computer. You see my computer, this. Well, I was afraid to shut it down and get out of it because I was afraid it would forget that I was quilting this quilt and I would have to start all over, and you can't start all over once you've already done 2 rows. So I just left it on. And I left it on probably for about an hour, and then I thought, my lightning fast mind, I thought, oh, I don't want to leave that light on that all night long. I texted my friend Jeffrey in California, and I asked him if it was going to hurt it to leave it on all night. And he said, yes, it will hurt it to leave it on all night. You can't even leave it for 20 minutes when you're doing a quilt. Oh, great. So I came back in here to shut it down, and you could have hit that thing with a sledgehammer and it wouldn't shut down. I pushed this X, I pushed that X, I single tapped, I double tapped, I did everything in the world. It would not shut down, the whole thing was frozen. And so Jeffrey told me, if you leave it for any amount of time, Windows will freeze and nothing will work on your quilt path. My software for quilting is called Quilt Path. So what a nutty, goofy, crazy thing. You know, why? What makes that happen? I mean, what if I have to go to the bathroom? What if somebody comes to the door? That doesn't make any sense. So finally, I just had to hold the button on this. It's a tablet, and I just had to hold the button down for the longest time, and I had to do it like 3 or 4 times before it would work. So finally it went off. And thank goodness that Jeffrey taught me how to save. Not just save the pantograph, but to save the quilting path and the quilting, how many rows and how many repeats and where do you start and where do you end and all of that. And so you have to do a separate save on that, and thank goodness I did. So it came right back up this morning. I was so excited. So I got my 6 rows quilted. Is it 6 or 7? I don't know. Anyway, it's a bunch of rows on this. And the pattern that I use, I've used several times. It is a really pretty pattern. It's called Damask, D-A-M-A-S-K. And there's a Damask and there's a Damask 2. And they're called Edge to Edge instead of pantographs. And I got it from the company called Wasatch Designs. W-A-S-A-T-C-H. Back years ago, I used to go there once in a while and check their stuff, but I have very, very few things that come from them. Seemed like you had to buy a great big package of a whole bunch of designs instead of just one or something. I don't know. Anyhow, I prefer my creative stitches now. But this design is called Damask 2 Edge to Edge and came from Wasatch Designs. So what I have to do is unpin it now from the back so I can get it off of here. Then I have to trim it all the way around so it's just the quilt left and no stuffing and no back. And then I have to make a quilt sleeve to put a pole in. I have to make that long sleeve like you saw me on my last video. Get it ready to sew on. Then I have to bind it. You know, those of you who don't make quilts, oh my goodness, there are so many steps and so many hours. I'll tell you, I think everybody should have to make just one quilt in their life. Okay, so now you go back here, and what I use to put mine on is pins. There's other ways, there's magnets, there's snappy things, there's other ways to attach it, but I just like the pins. These are hat pins. You can use hat pins, you can use flower pins, you can use all different pins, but these are the ones. Because the very first time I put a quilt on this long arm, the lady that showed me how to do it, who is the lady that sold me the long arm, had these kind of pins. So I just keep on using them. So you got to come in the back of the machine, see? Okay, so here I am way back here. And if Jeffrey was here, he would tell me I'm doing this wrong. And he would probably tell me I didn't put it on here right. Everybody does it different. He did some way different way than me when he was here one time. And unfortunately, my long arm had just been moved to this house. He had nothing to do with it. Another lady went to my other house in Kingston and took it all apart and loaded it up in boxes. And she actually, I think she put part of it on her trailer. And I paid, it cost me like $900 to move this long arm here. So she came here. It's funny because the day she came here to put it all back together in this room, she came with her husband, and her husband used to be an EMT. And thank goodness. Because that's the day my husband fainted in the bathroom. And her husband went running down the hall in there and knew exactly what to do to help Jerry. I called 911. Ambulance came and he went to the ER. He didn't really need to, but we didn't know that yet. He had taken, he has a pacemaker, and his pacemaker was new, and he wasn't real sure of what it did and how it worked. And he was getting some fluttering in his chest, and he thought maybe it was his heart. So they gave him this little pill you can put under your tongue. I'm sure a whole bunch of you know what it is. And so he took it, but it didn't do anything, and he kept having that fluttering, and so he took another one. Well, when he took the other one, that's what made him faint. So he recovered just fine. We sat around that ER all day long, and into the night. It was horrible, but he just came home and he was fine. So there she is. This quilt is called Patchwork Barn. I don't know why I'm going to hold it up. The machine holds it up better than I do. Patchwork Barn. And it has a lot of patchwork. And it's quilted. Ah, I'm so excited it's quilted. So I told Jerry, I said, my new thing is going to be finishing UFOs. So this is the first one. I have another quilt. I showed it to you in the last clip, all ready to put on this long arm. So I need to find a back for it and do that. So the back of it, they gave me all the fabrics. The kit had the fabrics. Isn't that gorgeous? I love Edited Sitar's fabrics, made by Andover. Beautiful. And I use a thread on the back, this color of this floral here. And on the front, I just used that real light beige, the same one I used on SW. We'll call him Southwest from now on, I think. I think I'm going to call him Southwest because his initials are SW. I give everybody nicknames. Sometimes they have 5 or 6 nicknames. So I don't know. I may just start calling him Southwest. Okay? So I can't talk to you anymore. I have to work. Good Monday morning. Tomorrow's Jerry's birthday. He's going to be 79. I have got to do something. He's already gotten so many presents. When we were at the house last time, he kept buying all these things, and I kept saying, well, happy birthday. And he would say, well, happy birthday to me again. When he'd buy something. We both do that. So I need to figure out how to at least get him a card or fix him a meal or do something. But hey, praise the Lord, 79, and my husband's still alive and well. I'm so thankful for that. So sorry for those of you who have lost your husband already. My friend Philly lost hers a couple years ago. Oh, so sad. I sort of did a big thing. There's a wasp on my wall! Good gravy, where did he come from? What is that? Oh my goodness, I don't know what it is, but I need to get a fly swatter or a gun or something. Oh, he turned around, he's looking at me. Oh my goodness, if he lands on me, call 911. So I went to the tech party. And my friend Melba was there, and of course my Philly was there. And I think I met 3 ladies, 3 of you who watch me. Hello, hello, hello. One lady was sitting right behind me. I think her name was Martha or Marcia. I'm terrible with names, you guys, so please forgive me. I think one lady's name was Joyce, and I don't remember the third one, if she even told me her name. So excited to meet people. And you know, I don't even think about it. I don't even think about anybody here in this area where I live as ever watching my YouTube channel. So it's always a big surprise to me when somebody does. But something followed me home from that tech party. And I don't know if I was a bad girl or a good girl or what I was, but I'm not going to show it to you. I have to start a new video for it, and I will. And I'll show you what came home with me. There were two different things that came home with me. When you go to the tech party, for one thing, there's over 100 women there. Easily over 100 women. Every single seat was full. All of them probably have purchased some kind of machines from that store. They all seem to know everybody that works there. I don't, because, you know, I'm from a different location where they have a store. But I'm getting to know some people. And, you know, the people change so much. Oh, I don't know how business owners deal with that these days. People constantly changing. I even knew a girl personally that worked at one of their stores. And she didn't work there very long. She said they didn't train her. And I think that's an issue I need to talk to the owner about. Because there were some cashiers yesterday that didn't realize the tech prices that the ladies were supposed to be paying, because everything had a special price that day. And they were actually charging people full price. And so if you didn't know the price you were supposed to pay, I think some women probably pay too much. And that's a shame. No, they even did it to me. I went up and I said, I heard such and such was $1,900. And she looked it up and she said, no, it's $3,000. See, that shouldn't happen. Those girls should have been trained and they should have known the tech day prices. Philly was upset about it, and I don't know, I didn't know any of the other women who bought stuff, so just something. We used to own a business, and I know how things like that can happen. We had 21 employees. Sometimes, let's don't go there. We don't want me to get upset when I just had a happy tech party and brought something home. So I don't even know. I couldn't tell you what's on this video. I think it was my barn quilt is on this video, and I'm up to, I have it all quilted. Did I show it to you all quilted yet? I don't know. When I put this clip on, I'll look and see. And if I didn't show it to you all quilted yet, I'll show you. But I've got to put the binding on it. And I'm supposed to be doing that today, but I have these new things that I have to get out of boxes and get ready to show you. So I really must go. I love y'all. I'll be back soon.